It is a curious and often troubling truth that our very best efforts to save a species can, on occasion, become the source of its distress. We draw a line in the sand, a boundary around a forest, and declare an animal protected. We believe this act of guardianship is a pure and simple good. And in so many cases, it is. Without such actions, our world would be immeasurably poorer. Yet nature is a far more intricate and delicately balanced system than we often appreciate. An action taken in one corner of this complex web can send unforeseen tremors throughout the whole. The story of conservation is not always a straightforward tale of heroes and villains. It is a story of unintended consequences of rules that, however noble, fail to account for the fluid reality of life. The impulse to protect is a profoundly human one, born of a deep-seated understanding that we share this planet. But good intentions, when not guided by a deep and holistic wisdom, can lead us down mistaken paths. The journey to truly effective conservation requires more than just passion. It demands humility, flexibility, and a willingness to see the entire picture. This essay explores this paradox. We will journey through 10 distinct ways our attempts to shield wildlife can falter. From making a creature a target by declaring it rare, to alienating the very people who live alongside it. There is a strange and dangerous alchemy in the word rare. When we bestow this label upon a creature, we intend to signal its vulnerability, to rally support for its protection. But in the marketplace of human desire, rarity equates to value. For some, it transforms a living being into a coveted object, a status symbol to be possessed. The announcement that a particular parrot orchid tortoise is teetering on the edge of extinction can act as a starting pistol for poachers and illicit collectors. The price on the black market soars, and the pressure on the few remaining individuals intensifies enormously. The problem of a species' rarity becoming its greatest liability extends far beyond the animal kingdom. In the quiet-rooted world of botany, the same perilous dynamic unfolds, often with even greater speed and silence. Rare plants, too, fall victim to this curse of desirability. From the most coveted orchids to the hardiest desert succulents, the label of endangered can transform a living organism into a collector's trophy. This isn't a new phenomenon. The orchid delirium of the Victorian era saw entire habitats stripped bare by zealous collectors, a historical prelude to the challenges we face today. Consider the fate of an obscure and beautiful flower, once identified and publicized as the last of its kind. For a conservationist, this announcement is a desperate plea for help. But for a certain type of obsessive collector, it is an irresistible challenge. Driven by a desire to possess the unique, the irreplaceable, they can be compelled to uproot it from its only sanctuary. The motivation is not always commercial. It can be a profoundly misguided form of admiration, a passion that consumes its own object of affection. The end result, however, is the same: extinction in the wild. And tragically, the very scientific paper that sounds the alarm can serve as a map for its destruction. A publication detailing a new species' location, its habitat requirements, and its population size is a goldmine of data for conservation planning. But in the wrong hands, it becomes a treasure map for poachers. This is a profound and tragic irony. The passion to catalogue and understand the natural world, the very foundation of biological science, when broadcast without careful consideration, can inadvertently sign a death warrant. The dilemma is agonizing. To save a species, we must know about it, but to know about it is to make it vulnerable. Information in these delicate cases must be handled with the utmost care. It becomes a controlled substance, a resource to be guarded as fiercely as the species itself. Therefore, a crucial part of modern conservation must involve managing not just the species, but the information about it. This is the practice of conservation obscurity, a deliberate strategy of withholding or generalizing location data. In practice, this means that details of nesting sites, the exact ranges of critically endangered animals, or the last known location of a rare plant should be treated like state secrets. This sensitive data is shared only among a small, trusted circle of conservationists, government authorities and land managers who have a direct and legitimate need to know. For public records, locations are often fuzzed, reported only to the nearest 10 kilometers, or within a broad administrative district, rendering the information useless for would-be poachers. In our age of instant global communication, this challenge has magnified exponentially. A casual social media post from a well-meaning tourist, a photo of a rare lizard geotagged to its precise location, can have devastating consequences, broadcasting a beacon to the entire world. The line between sharing beauty and enabling destruction has never been finer, and the responsibility now extends to us all. A vast proportion of the world's wildlife does not live inside pristine national parks or reserves. It lives on land owned and worked by people, farmers, ranchers, foresters. These people are the frontline custodians of habitat. When a law strictly protects a species, it can chill landowners. The fear. Discovering an endangered bird or salamander on your property could trigger crippling restrictions on your ability to make a living. That creates a perverse incentive, summed up as shoot, shovel, and shut up. Instead of celebration, a landowner may see a rare creature as a threat. Example: endangered woodpeckers nesting in old-growth pines. Fearing a single nesting pair could freeze logging for decades, some landowners preemptively harvested mature forests. They chose immediate income over a risky regulatory battle. The result: wholesale destruction of the habitat the law aimed to save. The woodpeckers are left with nowhere to go. Compensated for maintaining a healthy wetland or a mature forest, the wildlife becomes pride and income, not fear. Make protecting nature more profitable than destroying it. On the contrary, it is the first, most crucial step towards refining our methods, towards learning how to intervene with a lighter, more intelligent touch. The world of wildlife conservation has its celebrities. We all know them: the giant panda, the Bengal tiger, the majestic elephant, the mountain gorilla. These are the charismatic megafauna, the creatures whose plight can move us to tears and open our wallets. Yet this focus, however well-intentioned, can create a dangerous form of tunnel vision, where we pour our resources into saving a few stars while the stage they stand on collapses beneath them. An ecosystem is not a collection of individual species. It is a deeply interconnected community. Their survival depends on a vast and often invisible supporting cast: fungi, insects, amphibians, plants. The idea of a sanctuary is powerful, a safe haven where a species can recover. By removing predators or ending all hunting, populations rebound. But in a finite space, success can curdle into crisis. Numbers can swell beyond carrying capacity. The sanctuary can become a prison of starvation. The return of a top predator to a landscape it once roamed is often hailed as the ultimate conservation triumph. It represents a monumental effort, a reversal of historical loss, and a powerful symbol of hope for the natural world. It signals that the ecosystem is healing, that the intricate web of life is being rewoven. The presence of these apex animals cascades through the environment, a process known as a trophic cascade. Their hunting behaviors can alter the grazing patterns of herbivores, allowing vegetation to recover, which in turn stabilizes riverbanks, provides habitat for birds and insects, and even changes the course of rivers. The reappearance of wolves, bears, or great cats is a testament to nature's resilience, but it is also a testament to decades of dedicated human effort. The scientists who studied the ecology, the policymakers who enacted protections, and the public who supported the vision of a wilder world. Yet, for those who live and work on the front lines of this great experiment, the story is far more complex. For those who share the land, it's a new daily reality, sometimes frightening, that can bring profound conflict. The abstract ecological gain is measured against a very concrete and personal cost. These predators don't recognize our boundaries. A wolf, driven by instinct, won't distinguish a wild deer from a farmer's prize sheep. A leopard sees little difference between a gazelle and a goat. To them, our livestock are simply slow, easy prey, an irresistible opportunity in a landscape where their traditional food sources may be scarce or difficult to hunt. To a rancher losing livestock, these predators are not a symbol of ecological health. They are a direct threat to family security and a way of life passed down through generations. Each loss is not just a financial blow, but an emotional one, a breach of the caretaker's duty, a feeling of helplessness against a force they cannot control. When official channels seem slow or ineffective, resentment can spark illegal retaliation, discreetly laid traps, poison left out on carcasses, secret killings under the cover of darkness. These desperate acts not only undermine the conservation program, but can also have unintended, tragic consequences for other wildlife, creating a cycle of violence and mistrust. The long-term success of any reintroduction, therefore, demands we address this human dimension head-on, with empathy and practical solutions. We must move beyond the simplistic narrative of people versus predators and recognize that the well-being of both is inextricably linked. This means providing tangible support, livestock insurance to buffer the financial shock of a loss, and effective non-lethal deterrence. Specialized guardian dogs, bred for centuries to live among and protect flocks, can be remarkably effective. Simple technologies like randomly flashing lights can disrupt a predator's nocturnal approach. And building stronger, predator-proof enclosures for nighttime protection can be the most crucial defense of all. Swift, fair compensation for verified losses isn't a handout. It's a strategic investment in tolerance and coexistence. It acknowledges the service these communities provide by living alongside animals the rest of society wishes to protect. It transforms farmers and ranchers from victims into partners. But even with local tolerance, a greater challenge looms. In our effort to protect, we often create islands, parks and reserves hemmed in by a sea of human development, fences, roads, farms and cities. These protected areas, once seen as sanctuaries, are often too small to support viable long-term predator populations. Over time, these fragments become genetic traps. Without the ability to roam and mix with other populations, isolation breeds inbreeding. Genetic diversity plummets. This leads to a host of problems: reduced fertility, birth defects, and a weakened immune response, making the entire population dangerously vulnerable to a single disease outbreak or environmental shift. What was intended as a haven becomes a slow-motion extinction. There is a deep, almost primal human urge to connect with the wild. We see a creature, and our instinct is to offer a gesture of peace, a bridge between our world and theirs. Yet, in a profound and often tragic paradox, our desire to help an animal can be a profound disservice to it. What we perceive as a gift can, in reality, be a curse, a first step on a path that unravels the very wildness we admire. In our enthusiasm, we get too close. We offer food, eroding their natural healthy fear of humans. This process, known as habituation, begins subtly. A single handout from a car window, a picnic basket left unattended. For the animal, it is a powerful lesson. Humans equal an easy, high-calorie meal. On the surface, habituation can seem benign. The animals become easier to observe, leading to what many consider great visitor experiences. The thrill of a close encounter is undeniable. But this proximity is deceptive. It masks a dangerous shift in an ancient and vital relationship. A wild animal that loses its fear of people is an animal in peril. It has learned a dangerous equation that draws it out of its natural habitat and into ours, to towns, roadsides and campsites in search of its next easy food reward. This is no longer a wild animal behaving naturally. It is an animal whose instincts have been rewired by us. Inevitably, conflicts rise. The bear that once accepted a handout now tears into a tent. The deer that grazed peacefully now stands its ground, becoming aggressive. And too often, the animal, now labelled a nuisance or a threat to public safety, is trapped and killed for a behaviour that we ourselves have taught it. The consequences extend far beyond direct conflict. Feeding wildlife can create unnatural concentrations of animals, facilitating the rapid spread of diseases like chronic wasting disease in deer or mange in foxes. It disrupts the critical generational knowledge of natural foraging. Young animals fail to learn how to find their own food, becoming dependent on a source that is unreliable and nutritionally poor. Their home ranges shrink from vast landscapes of forest and field to the perimeter of the nearest trash can. The solution requires a shift in our own behaviour, a move from misguided affection to informed respect. We must maintain a respectful distance, using binoculars and telephoto lenses to bridge the space. We must commit to keeping wildlife wild. This means we must educate ourselves and others and diligently enforce regulations for food storage and wildlife viewing distances. These rules are not arbitrary restrictions designed to spoil our fun. They are essential safeguards born from painful experience that protect the integrity of wild animals and ensure their long-term survival. They are an admission that true appreciation does not mean interaction. The greatest kindness we can offer a wild creature is the space and freedom to live its own life, entirely independent of us. To witness an animal successfully navigating its world on its own terms is a far more profound experience than any artificially engineered encounter. This principle of respectful distance is a cornerstone of a wiser stewardship, one that acknowledges that the path of conservation is paved with complexities we are only beginning to fully understand. For decades, the primary tool of conservation was the protected area. We believed that simply drawing a line around a species or a habitat was enough. But nature does not recognize our boundaries. Animals migrate, ecosystems shift, and human influence permeates every corner of the globe. Our intentions must be guided by a more nuanced wisdom, one that sees the intricate connections among species, ecosystems, and the human communities that live alongside them. This modern approach means we must work with landowners as essential partners, not adversaries. We must design resilient landscapes with core habitats connected by functional corridors, allowing for genetic flow and adaptation to a changing climate. We must fund not only the famous charismatic megafauna, but also the foundational species, the pollinators, the soil microbes, the overlooked creatures that form the bedrock of biodiversity. It means we must actively support coexistence with predators, recognizing their vital role in ecosystem health. And above all, we must craft adaptive laws and policies that are as dynamic and responsive as the living systems they are meant to protect. This is the challenging but necessary work of 21st century conservation.